Women4Africa, a global vision, the celebration and the elevation of the best of Africa and its key resource. The key resource of Africa, some people think is oil, some people think it's uranium, some people say it's gold, but we know and we believe that it's the people. The same people that fight at the bus stops, the same people that are at Elephant Castle running around, the same people that the immigration services are chasing and deporting, these same people are carriers of gold. It's just that sometimes when you don't recognize the value of a person, you belittle them. And that's why it's a privilege for me to actually speak to carriers of destiny in this room. And I know for a fact that as a man, there'll be very few of us, if any at all, that didn't come from the womb of a woman. And in that womb, we had so much comfort. It was rent-free, it was warm, and it was a place that we really, really admired. In fact, I enjoyed my mother's womb so much, I came out as a late baby. So, as a man that has been brought up correctly by a woman just like you here, by a mother, like what Abby said, a stay-at-home mother, a mother that said, let me extend the back of the house and have my business here so that when my children come back from school, I will see them. A mother that, when I used to come back from school, she used to hug me, and I used to think she used to hug me because she was just full of joy. She was searching my pockets. But you see, and many a time, she actually found out many things that I kept a secret. A mother that when I went to sleep, went through my books and my bags, just to make sure. And the truth of the matter is that if she hadn't, I probably would have been in prison more times than Onye had to. And it's the truth because I know where I was living. I'm from Hackney. I grew up Hackney Wick. I went to Gainsborough School. We lived opposite Kingsmead. So when there were gang fights, we were there. This was in the 70s. So I know exactly what we're speaking about. And so for you to have an effective human resource called man, you need to make sure that women are involved as well. Now, so how does this come into a vision, and why should men lead and be so much involved in Women4Africa? And it's because life is as a race, and there's a race of gender and there's a race of continents. And I think that sometimes when you have the opportunity to run a race last, you have the best opportunity because you can watch other people rise and fall. You can watch the West, Europe and America and what they've done, their success and their pitfalls, and avoid them. We can watch the emergence of China, what they're doing, and avoid their pitfalls. And then as Africans, what we should be doing is looking and saying, well, we've learned from these people what is good, and we're going to avoid what is bad, so we can take their best practice and their benchmark. And what we do with it is run the relay race. Why do I say a relay race? I say it because this race is not run by one person, it's run by a team. And this team is called Team Africa, Team Family, Team Home, Team Husband and Wife, Team Sister and Brother. And in the relay race, the first people that take off are the men. Bam, like Ben Johnson, they go down there, running the race, and they're leading for everyone. And in their speed, they supply to other men, they supply to women, and they supply to children. But there comes a time in a relay race that you have to slow down and pass the baton. You have to pass the baton. But when you pass the baton, it doesn't mean you're not in the race anymore. It means your partner is doing something about the race. And that partner is our women. It's our women. It's time for us to recognize that we've led and we've done well, but we're just going to pass the baton to our women. And that doesn't mean that women become bosses or they become the key financiers or they become, in quote, bossy boots. Because one of the concerns that men have when relinquishing power to women is that, are these women going to try and dominate us? Are they going to try and sit on us? Are they going to try and tell us how to live? And if that's the case, to hell with them, because we don't want these women in any place. Don't go to work, don't go to that party, don't see that friend again, because there's a communication coming out that is full of fear. What are they up to? So if the relay race is set clear and people realize that it's a race that goes on and that the baton has to be changed from man to woman and from women to children, and you can see a global vision, then the understanding and the passion behind Women for Africa becomes clear. Because it's in my interest that every single woman in this room succeeds. Because the more you succeed in this race, the more cushion and support men like myself, men like Onye, men like all of us in this room will have. It's important, and we as men need our women to succeed. So Women for Africa is the celebration and the elevation of the ordinary African woman doing supernatural, or I was in church, doing extraordinary things. That's what it is.
I went along with this because for me, something that I like to tweet out every now and again is like, giving is the highest form of living. And for me, I believe that to be true. And that's how Women for Africa came about. It was really about the celebration and elevation of women. I was a hairdresser for a number of years, and when my clients sit down and tell their stories, I'd think, wow, this is amazing. People need to hear about you. People should know about you. What you're doing is fantastic. And that's kind of like how Women for Africa came about. I thought there were women out there, just ordinary women doing amazing things, and people need to know about them. We know about the famous women, but we don't know about the ordinary women. And that's how it came about. But me, I'm a giver, and my husband says I can give away our house if he left me to it. And I probably could, and then I'd be sleeping in a friend's house or something. You know, so he kind of like curbs me in from all the giving. But I have a joy when I give. And, you know, I give just because I believe it's my nature. And one of the things that I did that it kind of surprised a lot of people, but it wasn't a surprise to me. I on Facebook, because I like social media, I enjoy social media, I meet so many amazing people, and I met a student on there, and he messaged me on Facebook, and he said, oh, I'm friends with a number of his friends, young people, and in my church that I was back then, I used to teach in the teenage church, so I had a lot of them friends with me on Facebook. So I asked him if he went to that church. He said no. I said, okay, it's probably because of, you know, the teenage church there. That's probably why I'm friends with a lot of them, because they won't add me on Facebook. So he said he's studying to be a sports coach and things like that. So I said, okay, make sure you finish your studies and you study well, and you know, and I'm going to check up on you during exam time and to see what you've done. And he said fine. So he sent me a poem one day on Facebook, and I was kind of moved by the poem, and I thought, wow, this is really good. You know, it addressed, you know, he wrote it in a very creative way. I'd never read poetry that way before. He was talking about temptations that he faces as a young guy, but he was using a roundabout to describe the whole thing. So I said to him, how many poems does he have? And he said, oh, he's got 11. So I said, oh, have you ever thought about putting it in a book and, you know, getting it out there to people? And he said, no, he hasn't thought of that. So I said to him, okay then, when you've written 20 poems, you know, let me know, and let's look at putting it together in a book. So he said, okay. So he wrote the 20 poems, and he got in touch with me. Because I'd written a book before, I said to him, okay, then I'm going to get the person that designed my cover to design, I'm going to send it off to print and all of this. And he was like, oh, but, you know, he doesn't have any money to do that. And I said to him, well, you know, I'm going to fund the whole project and, you know, take it to the step of when you're going to launch the book, and then you take over from that. So he said, okay. So we put the book together, designed it, got it printed, he approved the first one. And then I said to him, okay, start to organize your book launch. You know, probably do it in your church, your friends, and everybody can come together. We picked a date and we picked the venue. Then I got a phone call from his brother, and his brother said, oh, you know, Dele said that you've helped him with a poetry book. We didn't know Dele writes. My mum doesn't know he writes. I don't know he writes. His sister doesn't know he writes. And I was like, oh, okay. So he said, and he said, you funded the whole thing. And I just wanted to ask, who does that without wanting anything? And I said, well, you know, I don't want anything. I said, I believe there's two things that stop people from fulfilling their passions in life. It's either money or fear. And I knew he didn't have money as a student, so I said it was something that I said I will do for him for the first step, and then as his book's selling, he can now invest and do other things. And then his mum phoned me, thanked me, his dad phoned me, and I kept saying to him, I said, look, I don't really want to be known as the person, that's behind this. I just see that you have a talent and a gift that, should be nurtured, and I just want to help you with the first step, and then I just want you to continue. So he launched the book. The turnout was amazing. He was signing, we put it all together, the event, and and the next year he did his second book, which he did all by himself, and he did the launch as well and everything. On Twitter, he's on Twitter as Dele Writes. He has a blog, he writes poetry, he does that. And for me, that's the kind of thing that I like to do. I like to give. I don't expect anything in return, but it's just something. That's why my husband says I can give away our house, and and that's why he has to kind of like curb me a bit. But that's the type of person I am. I just like to give, because I believe that in order for people to fulfill their dreams, some of us have to be enablers of those dreams. And the reason why we decided to come up with the campaign is because I believe there's people out there like myself that they can see a dream or a vision that you have, and in one way, shape or form may want to help to enable that dream and not expect anything in return, or just want to be a part of help. So I agreed with my husband reluctantly, okay, let's put the campaign out there and see who wants to help, who wants to support us, and that's why the campaign is there.
You have to be so distinguished. You have to be that reference point. It's interesting, the many people that we're inspired by, that we're empowered by, that we look up to, I guarantee you they're a trailblazer. Whatever you're doing, have the future in view. It's interesting, we can sign up to a 25-year mortgage. We can sign up to a 10-year vision, 10-year insurance. We can do a 24-month-year contract for our mobile phone or for our iPads. But we need to have a long-term vision. And once you have a long-term vision, automatically you become a trailblazer. Automatically. Remember, your vision isn't not about you, it's about him, her, and them. Be that light, be that reference point. Steve Jobs, he's long gone now, but his iPad's still living on. Remember, an entrepreneur is a leader of excellence, trailblazer, and pioneer who constantly brings change to their generation. The great leaders that we look up to, the great trailblazers, the great ambassadors of business, of leadership, constantly brought change to their generation. As we enter in a new year, last year's excellence could be this year's mediocrity. So what we think as excellence in 2013, more than likely in 2014 is going to be mediocrity. So we need to rise up to new levels of excellence as a community, as an individual, as a nation. I'm so excited about life. You've heard my story. I'm not sure how many of you survived death, but surviving death in such a split second by a millimeter, it brings something into your life. I've just got this unquestionable passion for life, to impact people, to empower people, to challenge people, to constantly raise the bar of excellence. I never knew in a million years I'd be traveling up and down. Soon I'll be traveling across Africa, fulfilling my dream, fulfilling my vision. But interestingly, my dream and my vision is not about me. Let's go from consumers to mass producers. It's great to look good. As you can see, my suit is on point and my shirt looks good. It's good to look handsome, it's good to look beautiful. But we're consumers, consuming. Let's be mass producers of our ideas. Let's become thought leaders in our industry. So when they talk in your particular industry, they reference you. They say you, and they say you. As I said, there's so much opportunities out there, but I believe one of the ways to maximize your opportunity is to so many industries out there that you can really become a thought leader, become a change agent. As I said, I look back at my life, sitting down in a prison in 2001, I didn't have no vision for my life. I didn't have no dreams. I just, what was life all about? But now I've caught onto my vision. I'm just excited. At 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm still working on my vision. You have to see your vision. Time management. One of the things that I believe that will distinguish you as an entrepreneur in 2013 and beyond is how to manage, master, and maximize your time. Every person that we look up to, every great, from Richard Branson, Tim Campbell, from Sam, every single one of us, we know how to manage, master, and maximize our time. There's 24 hours in a day. With the birth of social media is very great, but I believe social media, if we're not careful, can be a detriment to us as entrepreneurs, can be a detriment to us as leaders. So how do you manage, master, and maximize your time? I believe the greatest currency in the world right now is not the dollar, it's not the euro, it's not the pound, it's time. 24 hours in a day. Every human being, white, black, young, old, rich, poor, we've got many things in common. But one thing we've got in common is time. And I've made up my mind that I've constantly, every day is a learning experience, manage, master, and maximize my time. Social media is great. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter. Sometimes you can sit down before you know it, 2 hours have gone. And you've gone through everyone's pictures, everyone's profiles, and you haven't achieved anything. But the great industry leaders, the reference point that we always refer to, the entrepreneurs and leaders, I guarantee you, they manage, master, and maximize their time. Creativity is another principle that I've learned on my journey thus far. Creativity is such a powerful, what's the word I'm looking for? Such a powerful element. As I said, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, we never knew in a million years we can do so much on an iPad or on a tablet or on a smartphone. But that's someone's creative idea. The clothes that we're wearing is someone's creative idea. The aftershave that the guys are wearing is someone's creative idea. The hair that some of the ladies bought is someone's creative idea. So what's your creative idea? What do you want to give birth to? What do you want to bring to the world? I believe now as individuals, we need to go from consumer to become mass producers. Mass producers of products, mass producers of systems, mass producers of ideas. So creativity is the new currency. Creative ideas was what would distinguish you. My first book, Hitting the Target, a 12-month guide to distinction, was a creative idea. The whole media house, man, Onion Yard on Media House, that whole vision of distinction is a creative idea. The books I've written about entrepreneurship and leadership is a creative idea. Steve Jobs, one of the greatest entrepreneurs. Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook is a creative idea. I'm not sure how many other versions of Facebook that is idea, but now Mark Zuckerberg is an entrepreneur of distinction. So one of the things that's going to distinguish you is your creative idea. So I spoke about vision, I spoke about creativity, I spoke about time management. I also want to speak about excellence. Excellence is something dear to my heart. Excellence can be described as distinction, can be described as top-notch, it can be described as raising the bar. If truly we're going to become people of distinction, entrepreneurs of distinction, we need to have excellence. I can't stress it enough. As I said, I'm a speaker and I've seen many speakers' websites, and I've said, how can you have something so mediocre and you're teaching people? It may sound harsh, but we're not going to buy mediocre products. We're not going to go to Zara, we're not going to go to Harrods, we're not going to go to Sainsbury's and buy mediocre products. We're going to buy products of excellence. So if we're going to buy products of excellence, we have to be excellent products ourselves. So I'm here to challenge you as I challenge myself. We have to positively impact the previous, the present, and the future generation.
That I wanted to work from home. I had a mother who, owned her own business back home. She had a school, which she still has, and she was always around for us. So I knew that you could be everything. You could be a mother, you could, stay at home, look after your kids, and still make money. So I thought if I could just find that thing that could allow me to be all of those things, because you know that if you don't look after your children, society will look after your children for you. There are loads of people out there that are willing to do that, And I remember that my mom was always around. And when I went to law school, this is back home in Africa, there was an incident where we were all in a room. There were lots of girls just kind of hanging around, talking and all of that. And we started to talk about sexual harassment and sexual abuse. And it came as a shock to me that out of the 10 women in the room, also women, there were only 2 of us that hadn't actually been sexually abused as a child. So the percentage is actually very high. Lots of people is an uncle, a maid, somebody. And that particular day, there were 2 women there that had the same person harass them. One was when she was 6 and one was when she was 13. The same uncle. So I knew that it was a gift to have my mother at home and not have a frustrated mother because she had something to do. So when this business came into my life, I thought, yeah, this is something that I can definitely do, where I would rise up and at my own level, rise up and still be there for my family. And I just love the company because our philosophies were what resonated with me, putting God first, family second, and career third, which were the values that I lived my life around. So, they say, that is history now. This is how I started. Now, Mary Kay has given me the platform to reach, lots of lives. Leave a legacy and, start to write my own legacy in a way, because I do mentor over 200 women. So let's just say I mentor hundreds of women, right? I've entered that category of mentoring hundreds of women. And what brings me joy is to have a woman come in thinking that she can't do something, but breathe and belief in her so that she can go out there and make an extra income, or in fact change her whole career. And business is something that a lot of women are afraid of because they don't want to take up the responsibility of having to do numbers and figures and administrative things and all of that. But there are lots of organizations out there that actually help us to rise up in business, and this is what I take back to the women that I mentor. And my passion is to find other women leaders who are ready to take whatever skills that they have from wherever they're coming from, transfer that to help and mentor other people. Because trust me, like you said, there are loads of people out there that need mentoring. Lots and lots and lots of people that need mentoring. There are lots of people that would like to go out on their own in business, but they wouldn't know where to start. So they need industry leaders like some of you, because a lot of people have stood up and say to herself, at least I can control this, Oh, so I hear the women say, yes, I know that. So lots of pocket money going towards cosmetics because cosmetics make you feel great. And I know that it's a language that my people speak. And it's something that can go out there and make a difference and leave an impact on other people's life. I would always pay homage to the woman that had the vision to start this company. Even after her death in 2001, the company continues to live after that. We have over 3 million consultants worldwide in 33 different countries. And that is what you talk about, leaving a legacy. When somebody's dream, and it can be your dream, can change generations for life.
In your business, may I say, there is a way in which you can make money and a way in which you can't make money in every field. So you might hear I'm in the marketing business, but there's a way to make money in marketing and a way to make a little bit of money in marketing. Your job is to begin to find out the knowledge of how do I make money in my key industry. All of us, we did property investments before and we lost a lot of money. But having acquired the knowledge, now I know how to make money in every property development. Keys to success from our business motto is we have an amazing marketing system, amazing financial system, sales system and processes, operational system and processes, personal and professional growth, because in as much as we can have systems in place, if we ourselves are not developed, they are just things that are sat on the shelf. So our job is to also work on ourselves as well as working on our business to make things work successfully. So I heard of this, I learned this about having to grow a business, and I was taught, my mentor said to me, Caroline, for you to be able to grow a business, you need to be able to replicate it. For you to replicate your business, you need to systemize it. For you to systemize your business, you need to document everything about your business. Because it means that you can have store 1 here, store 2 here, store 3 here, store 4 there. So how he did it, clever man. He learned how to maximize on rental income from property investments. And then what did he do? Documented everything. How do you say hello to the first estate agent? He wrote it down. How do you say hello to the valuer? He wrote it down. Every single thing. How do you pick up the phone when we call? He wrote it all down. And what does he do? He now documents it and then he systemizes it. And what does he do? Creates a franchise. The man has a waiting list of I think it's 6 people every month for, how much you pay? £72,000 to be mentored, and there's 6 people waiting in line, 3 months recruiting process. How many has he joined, has he had? Over, because I was his first mentor, a mentee. I made him money, you see? So, anyway, no, that's a joke. But having worked with me, he has grown his business simply by having had it systemized like in a box. And he has now taught over 150 people in 6 years. That means the man has got lots of cash. That is one of the key ways to grow your businesses. So you might think maybe it won't work for me, but for every shop to be successful, they have to do exactly what you do that's made you successful. And that's the key. And then you can replicate the whole thing. Then you can franchise the whole thing. So if you have businesses for business owners, that's the key to grow your business. Business failures, 90% of small businesses in the UK fail in their first 2 years of operation. Why? A lack of knowledge, which should be the key thing that you try and find. Lack of knowledge about your industry, lack of knowledge about what makes things work. A lack of money, yeah? And now when I mean lack of money, not because you have no access to money, but even just how to manage your money. You're starting a business, you're on your way buying furniture. Hey, start in your small room. You go and buy a fancy suit and jackets. Hey, do with what you have, just make it fabulous and shiny. Lack of support, key one. In business, you'll find that you feel isolated. And the key thing is find like-minded people that will be there to sharpen you. No iron sharpens itself. Iron sharpens iron. So you go and find which iron to be sharpening you. If you find negative people, leave them, because negative people stink. So it means you're also going to get stinky like them. So your job is to come away. No, it's the truth. Yeah, I had to stop. People hated me. My girlfriend stopped talking to me. Why? Because I said, look, we're not going in the same direction. You quite like this baby story, and I love my babies, but actually there's more to baby life than just what we're doing. So I'm on my way. But whatever it is, your job is to identify what are the things that I'm engaging in that are not profitable for my business. Then you prioritize those things and move things away, and you'll be on your way. So support is key for me. Cultivating an unshakable character. Become persevering, resistant, resilient, unstoppable. Understand that they are always resisting forces, no matter where you are. Whether you're this successful, there'll be things that will come against you. Your job is to think, identify that's the one. I've got to find out how to overcome it. And then you move to the next level. Desire, cultivate a hunger within you. At one point, obviously having made money, I was thinking, it's quite life like this. It's quite nice, I can sit at home. And I began to think, is this it? No. So what did I do? I went to Uganda. I saw women there. I saw children there. I came back thinking, no. Why? I was having to cultivate the hunger within me and find out that thing that I said I want to do, I've got to go and see it, and then that will work my appetite to want to do more of it. Become a person of integrity. Where your word stands. If you can't do, don't do. I've made some mistakes in life about integrity. And I think, you know what, for everybody else, if you can't do, just say, you know what, sorry, I can't do it. And let your word be your word. Let your yes be your yes. Become a self-motivated person. Prepare. Otherwise, you prepare for mediocrity. People wait to be excited and motivated. No, you should motivate yourself. Why? Because your vision and your dream should drive you rather than things and people around you. Become action-oriented. Most people spend time, I'm sure we must have talked about time management, we're talking about time management, but it's the 80-20 rule. So you spend 20% of, when you do 20% of activities, they give you 80% of the results. So you've got to understand, right, okay, if I'm taking more action, am I action, the 20% actions will give me 80% results, or am I, we're doing business today, I'll take the laundry, put them here, and then, business call, you pick the whole, no, you've got to think, identify 20% first of all. I'll get these things right, turn my phone off, my mobile phone, my emails off, everything off, focus, 90 minutes. Get that done, then think, okay, now it's time to do the laundry. Actually, I'll find somebody else to do the laundry because it's not important for me at this moment. Become a lifelong learner. You never stop to get educated. Get yourself informed with right information that will actually help you for your dream and your purposes. Cultivate regular, meaningful relationships. I want to give the elevator story. Who has been on an elevator before? Yeah? Almost all of us. Where does it take you? Up or down? Yeah? Some people, you hang around them, you go up. Some people, you hang around them, they take you down, but not just down, the lower basement, where you can't get out. You have to think, goodness me, what? Those relationships are way. The time and energy you spend is more detrimental than actually will help you. So, the final part is, understand that in business, there are business cycles. So you have infancy stage, obviously at starting stage, expansion stage, and maturity stage. So even in your field or your industry, know that we've had that in the property in industry, and we've understood that. But even just for my own personal business growth, I've had to understand, where am I? If you don't know where you are, then you won't know where you're trying to get to in working on your vision or your goals. So learn the business cycles. There's a guy called Michael Gerber. I'm sure most business owners will know about him. He has a very good, he's taught very good business keys to success. One of which I like is the E-Myth, just the normal, the E-Myth by Michael Gerber. And he talks about Like that, when you're starting off your business, you're the three-in-one person. You're the entrepreneur, you're the technician who's making and doing the buns, you're also the manager who's putting systems in place. Your job is to know when and where am I at in everything, every given time. When I was doing property investments, initially I was an entrepreneur, then it meant I spent time doing the vision, but actually it was only 10% of that time. I was doing the management bits, but only 20% because I didn't need that much. And then 70% of actually doing it. So I say to the child, let's go on my back. We knock at the door, we view the house. We come back, okay. We go back, we do, afterwards we are the builders. We do the development, we come back, afterwards, now we're renting the rooms. But now, I have graduated to actually being the entrepreneur. I spend 70% of my time thinking. So we're thinking about, how can we come up with this development? What can we do? Why? Because that has grown and matured, and now it's at the stage where we now do very little of it. So I still do the work, so you never abdicate from it. You never leave the business. Always have reporting systems that are daily giving you the checks, otherwise you will go down without even knowing. Yeah?
Visualize. So, this is something I tend to like to do. I like to get my clients and prospects to visualize what we are. I don't want them to just say, well, we can have an exhibition stand. Okay. What does an exhibition stand look like? It's very different. At the back we have some exhibition stands. At our event, exhibition stands are very different from what you see at the back of the room. But let's say if they were thinking from the back, then they don't have the right perspective. I start to tell them, this is how it works, this is how it operates. Imagine this. I start to put thoughts in their head. I start to invoke them feeling or believing that they're already doing it. So imagine you were standing in the room in front of 200 of your potential market, or your potential audience. What would you say to them? Imagine 200 of your clients, what would you say to them in that opportunity? Oh, well, I haven't thought about that. Think about it. What would you say? Well, I'll tell them about our products, etc. I'll tell them how it works, and they break it down from there. What that helps to do is they start to sell themselves. They start to sell themselves on the idea. They start to already visualize themselves doing it. So when I get towards the point where I want to close the deal, it's very hard for them to say no at this point because they've already believed and saw themselves doing it. So it's important to make the client and the prospect visualize exactly what they're going to be doing. Don't just throw things at them loosely. Sponsor this event, you'll have an exhibition stand. No, sponsor this event, you'll have an exhibition stand. People are going to be walking in and out of the exhibition hall. Roughly 200 people walking in front of you. How would you engage them? What would you do to catch their interest? Well, I'm going to put 2 of my best sales guys on there, and they're going to have to engage with them one by one. Excellent. That's exactly what I wanted to hear, and take the conversation from there. Once again, empathize. Talk about their business. Ask them about them and listen. The worst thing is when, you ask the best questions but you don't listen to the response. What is the point of getting that information if you are not going to listen to what they say? One thing I always do, if I'm on a telephone call with a client or a prospect, I take down notes. I take down every detail that they mention to me about their product, their service, what they want, what their objectives are, what their vision is. I do this because what I plan to do is relay it back to them. I want to show them that I have listened to everything that they've told me that is important to them. Because if it's important to you, it's important to me. And this is how I operate in business. Then we can create something tailored. Make them feel like this is only for them. Never make it feel like it's generic. I make every exhibitor that exhibits at my events feel like this is the first time that I've done something such as this. I've made it quite unique. So although they can see a sponsorship menu with different packages, I make the package seem like it was all for them. I tailored it for them. But you've told me you want 7 people to attend. I'm going to put together a package based on 7 people getting involved in this event. Who are the people? And take it from there. Very importantly, build a relationship. The prospect should be able to trust you. Show that you are a reliable person. You need to become their friend. You could do a very hard sell, but it'll probably get you 1 deal and that's it. What I want is to establish a relationship. It is very important, especially in the early stages of business, that you are able to get people on side who will support your business and your event for the long term. A number of my clients have been working with me for the past 3 years. So they support the same events, and in some cases, they increase their spend because they want to work with us now.
You could call me a technocrat, you could call me a technologist, you could call me, some people have called me a social entrepreneur, and you could also call me an academic. You could call me what I call an economics pan-Africanist, because I'm interested in socio-economic development in Africa. And in all these areas that I've mentioned, I'm involved in them actively. But Sam, I've known Sam for about 8 years now, and I know he's, I would call him as a business resource entrepreneur. He's a very resourceful man. About 8 years ago, when I was helping my local church in East London to run a community project, Sam was very, very helpful in helping us to raise funds for that project. And I know the continuation of that project as well. Sam has also helped in providing the right resources and the right links and helping raising funds for that. So if you really want to start your business and look for the right resources, I think Sam is the man. So, but in the last 8 years, I've moved on. I've globetrotted, I've sat with president, prime ministers, been everywhere basically, and it's because part of the thing that I do promoting development in Africa. So I'm from NIPAD Council, and NIPAD Council is it stands for New Partnership for African Development. At the dawn of the new century, African president came together. They came together to say, okay, we need to fashion a new way for development in Africa. So they came up with this developmental blueprint, and we call it NIPAD. And so if you so NIPAD is a developmental blueprint for Africa to make, because I don't want to dwell on it because you don't really understand the politics or the development. You are more the hands-on people, which is very nice. So, but it's an African-owned, African developmental agenda to see, okay, this is first time Africans are coming together to be at the driving seat of their development, and they've identified different areas where Africa needs to focus on, need to invest into, to be able to take Africa not from being a basket case or being the sick child of the world to be the leading continent, or countries in Africa become leading countries in the world. So 10 years, the governmental arm, which is the NEPAD agency, is in Johannesburg in South Africa, being run as the official agency of the African Union in Addis Ababa. So the NEPAD Council is a civil society organization. Back in early 2000s, some African professionals and experts came together and came up with the idea of how do we get the African brains, intelligentsia together to be able to support the successful implementation of NIPAD. And then the idea was presented to the African head of states, and then the mandate was given. So I'm carrying so as the Secretary General, I don't usually like using that because But as the Secretary General, I carry the mandate of African Head of States on my shoulder. And for the past 6 years, I've been running this organization, a global news organization of diverse individuals and professionals. And it hasn't been easy, but it's been fulfilling, and there's still a lot to be done. And I'm working to see how we can move the organization further than what it is at the moment. So coming to and later on I will kind of touch on other things that have come up that I've learned from the presentation here today. So actually the NEPAD agency in South Africa has a woman program, and the aim is to support the education of women, and also focusing on the area of maternal and childcare, because these are quite important areas. If you can make life better for women, you need to educate them, and I'm coming down later in my presentation to give you some examples. So this is my outline, and I've identified some role models. Some of them I've met, some I've not, but these are leading African women doing good things, and set what we call trailblazers, which I think African women or any woman anywhere in the world can emulate. So I've touched on that, the NEPAD Women Empowerment Program. If you are interested, maybe you have an idea of, you can let me know. I could always for something I found out is that I'm probably 1 or 2, 3 people away anywhere in the world for some that might be helpful to you. So just let me know. There may be someone that I know that will help you. Anything that you do, if you're interested in working in Africa or doing anything in Africa, I think I'll be able to help in that. Yeah. So the NEPAD Empowerment Program, you can go to the website of NEPAD and get all these issues on gender issues, support business, education, and health. So I came here just presenting. I thought coming to give a speech and something like that, but just to talk generally about why women are important for Africa. Of course, women are important for everyone. I was born by a woman and raised by a woman, and I'm going to get married to a woman very soon. So, but when it comes to Africa, and again, it's not all that kind of gloom and doom story that African men oppress African women. I think the story is more complex than that. We need to understand and we need to bring that one up. But something I found that this both comes from my workings, relationships, and also for personal experience, that what makes women to be able to stand on their own, or not stand on their own, but because if you are married, you need to be part of a unit of a family, but to be able to be distinct in society, education is very, very paramount. And this is not disputable at all. And what in further, education helps to bridge gender empowerment gap. If you educate a woman, you'll be able to work for herself, take care of her kids, take care of her husband, and take care of the family, and also contribute to society as well. Because it's not only about the family, it's about also you bring contribution to society. And it also gives equal opportunity. It opens, once you're educated, of course, I know in some societies, there's, whether a woman is qualified or not, the person is relegated. That should not be permitted. But if you're educated, and you know your rights, and you are competent in whatever you do, especially in motherhood, you'll be able to get to where you should get to. And it also improves well-being. And well-being means about taking care of yourself, it's about your health. We find, of course, it's been proven that more educated women, Morimi, from Yoruba warrior leader, she actually preceded, in the history of Yoruba, she preceded the what do you call it, the coming of Oodua to Yoruba land. Maybe I don't want to go to story because everybody believes that Oodua, all Yoruba descend from Oodua. Not really. Before Oodua came, there were people there. He probably came with more superior managerial kitchen. But before Oodua came, Morimi was already, she was a legend, a woman warrior. Actually, my descendant. My father used to tell me that one of my grand or great grandmother was a she warrior. she led a whole town to war and they won. So, and Africa is awash with stories of female warriors, leader kings, and things like that. So it's not as bad as we say African men are bad, are terrible, they are oppressing their women. It's more of, actually the problem is in some instances it's actually poverty. It's poverty. Men actually die more and suffer more in Africa. They die from war, they die from disease. But nobody talks about that. But that's by the way. Technocrats. An interesting one is this lady from Ghana, Grace Ame Obeng. I came across her. She's running a business that's worth $12 now. She's actually making cosmetics. And cosmetics is not...
Million or just $12?
No, $12 million. Sorry. And she started with... Sorry. And she started with $100. And just under about... just 5 years now, grown to about $12 million business with clients. Of course, whenever there's an African woman, our product will be there because she focuses on making African women beautiful, not trying to turn to someone that they are not. So she makes products that emphasizes African beauty, your blackness, and if you are lucky to be, or if you are born light in Africa, it makes you to also to make that African beauty to shine through you. So she's not only emphasizing Africa, she's also making money from it. I think that is wonderful. She's based in Ghana. And on the other side is Bola Adeshola. She's the CEO of the Standard Chartered Bank in Nigeria. And and if you know Standard Chartered Bank, it's one of the global banks in the world. And Nigeria is probably, maybe outside South Africa, probably their second biggest operation in Africa. So she's the CEO, and she's not the only one. Another lady was the CEO of the Union Bank. And Union Bank is the second oldest bank in Nigeria. It has a lot of history behind it, and one of the biggest insights as well. So again, emphasizing education. If you're educated and the society is permissive, women can rise up to any position they aspire to, and it happens in Africa, not only in Western world. So technologies, this is an area that is that I'm passionate about. I see myself as a technologist. I own a non-for-profit which focusing on using mobile phone to develop diagnostic medical devices in Africa. We've been running for 3-4 years now. We're getting some traction and it's been exhilarating. And also play other roles because I see myself as well as a globalist. I'm a judge on the GSMA Global Mobile Award. If you know GSMA is the body that represents all the mobile operators in the world. So I'm a judge on the awards, and what you do is that you submit your ideas and we judge it and you give an award. Actually 3 days ago I was also elected as a judge and a mentor of Global Challenge Cup. It's an American organization of a global network of startups and entrepreneurs. So they're actually coming to London next week, and we're going to meet people, going to submit an idea, we're going to award it, and also mentor them to develop their products. So if there's any young person, because I spoke with someone here today, a young person that is working on some kind of ideas in Africa. So this is the kind of place you need to submit your idea. Even if you're not going to win, you're going to network, you're going to meet people, you're going to have access to resources or unimaginable resources. So I encourage you, if you want more information on that,